Shabbat Shalom. My name is Adina McGrath, and I have a tremendous miracle to share with you all that Yahweh gave to me at least 25 years ago. First of all, we do have a Yahweh who is mighty, and he never slumbers, he never sleeps, and he is always planning. So 25 years ago, I didn't know what his plan was for me. But he made a miracle happen where I was hired to work as a reservation specialist at Carnival Cruise Lines at the age of 60. How I got a career job at the age of 60, it was only a miracle. I passed every test that he gave me, and every requirement, he gave it to me. So I became a reservation specialist. And then I began to realize that, why am I working for this company? You know, cruise ships are not the best atmosphere. Everything is romantic and the gambling and so forth. And I began to think, Father, are you sure this is where I'm supposed to be? Well, he gave me a prayer partner. And so my prayer partner and I started praying and wondering what this was all about. It's so important to know and be obedient to him. So that was our plan. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know why we were there. But he did begin to show us that as we prayed, we walked around the whole building of Carnival Cruise Line, and he began to show us that the ships that Carnival Cruise Line had were to be used to bring home his children. And that was such a shocking revelation. And it was going on 25 years ago. And it still is real today, and even more real today than it was then. But then we began to realize, okay, we're supposed to be prayer intercessors, watchmen. So we began to watch. Now when the company, now this was in 1986, and at that time, Carnival Cruise Line had one ship and in one port, and that port was in Miami. And the ships all had names like Fascination, Sensation, Ecstasy, the Fantasy, Imagination, and all these names that were very worldly. But as my prayer partner and I, whose name is Roz, we began to see, all of a sudden, the new ships that started coming out. Jubilee, Victory, Glory, Triumph, Miracle, the Spirit, Inspiration, and Destiny and Conquest. Now why would a company all of a sudden decide to start naming the ships completely different names? And then also we began to realize that the owners are Israelis, and all the board members are all Israelis. So Yahweh began to show us that he had it all set up. So then we began to look also at the ports. As I say, in 1986, when I first started, there was only one port. But today, which is 2012, as you can see on this map, the ports are all along the east coast of Florida, all along the southern coast, and all along the western coast. So he has us covered, ready to do whatever he wants us to do. And to encourage me, because we kind of, over the years, you see other things happening and you're wondering, now, did I really hear from you, Father? Is this really what you want? Well, don't recall the year, but when the Hurricane Katrina destroyed New Orleans, we were the only cruise line that we sent 2 ships over there as refuge. And when that happened, I thought, there's the beginning of our ships being used for refuge. So as the years went on, he began to put a desire in my heart to share this with other believers. And it's so encouraging because as I share with other believers, he's also given them a part of it. He's also given them a part of it. And that's very encouraging. So I wanted to show you now, this is just one of the ships. It's not a boat. This is a ship. One of the ships of the many that we have in our fleet now. And this ship holds over 2,000 passengers. So if we need a ship for 2,000 passengers, that's what we're going to have. So also on I said, Father, how, I keep saying, how is it going to happen? When is it going to happen, you know? So it's when you're carrying a vision, a burden, and you really can't share it with a whole lot of people because they wouldn't understand it, you know. But he began to show me that actually when we sail out of we're going to have different places like here in North Carolina, many other places where we're going to be able to take the people out to the ports. And he showed me that going straight across to and coming into the Mediterranean Sea, which is going through the Strait of Gibraltar, going through that area. And there are already believers and watchmen there that are preparing those gates to be open. You know, so when the time comes, there was something else I was going to share with you. We also have, of course, not only in this is another map, basically the same, but as we have ports that go over into Italy already. That's as close as we get to Israel. But as Yahweh plans work out, I'm sure that he's going to extend that so that we can get our ships right into the port in Haifa, in the Mediterranean Sea there. So we have a port in New York, Norfolk, Virginia, Charleston, South Carolina would be the closest to North Carolina. Then we have Jacksonville, we have Port Canaveral, we have Fort Lauderdale, Miami, down the East Coast, and then across the southern part we have Tampa, and we did Miami, and we have Galveston, Texas, we have New Orleans, and then going up on the West Coast we have Los Angeles, we have San Diego, we have Ensenada, and then also Alaska. So he has been working 25 years putting this together, and it's so awesome to be part of this plan. I'm waiting, listening, and we are right now at the place waiting for him to give us a divine time, divine appointment to go and present this to the owners of Carnival Cruise Line. Now, originally the company is owned by as I say, Israeli people. Aronson, the father, was the owner of this company, and he started it. And we also prayed for this, when we found out they were Israelis, we prayed for them to make their aliyah back to Israel. And they did, eventually. So he and his wife retired from Carnival Cruise Line, and they moved to Tel Aviv, and he was very successful over there. But he would come back and forth, checking on the company. So then the son took the company over, and he's been running it. So we need to share. That's who we're going to be sharing it with, is his son, Mickey Arison, and all the members of the board. I thank you so much for this, and just keep in prayer that Yahweh's divine work will be done, and those that he has already chosen, will hear his voice and will know and prepare and be ready for when that time comes.